What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. Now, today we are going to be reviewing this sequel to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids called Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. Now, this is going to be another episode where I'll be talking about the franchise Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. So, today, for this episode, Shaz and Praise, episode 234, we will be talking about me reviewing Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. Now, this is a sequel to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which was the last episode. I did talk about that one. And this movie came out in 1992. So, with that being said, it's a pretty interesting and good sequel to it. And I definitely gotta say, it's a really awesome sequel. I thought it was really neat, too. I mean, it was not originally written as a sequel to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It originally titled Big Baby, when it was basically about a toddler who wanted to grow giant size, a freak accident involved a growth ray, and terrorize in Las Vegas, but yet a Godzilla-ristic kind of way. But Disney saw the possibilities of making this into a sequel in the first film, who rewrote the script. The main characters from being Big Baby became the Scalenzi family, but there was no character in the original family that Amy Scalenzi could replace. So she leaves for college at the beginning of the film, is not seen again. So prior to this, a sequel was offered to screenwriter and teacher David Trotter. So it was pretty interesting. I mean, I thought this was a pretty interesting storyline for it. I mean, it's pretty interesting. I mean, the music of it was just as good as the first one. I can definitely say right now, it's a pretty good story. So anyways, I think we'll get to the plot line of this, book. Well, not book, but like the movie, just in case for those who haven't seen this movie in a long time, or for those who want a refresher, if that makes any sense. So, yeah. Oh, excuse me. Me apologies for that. So, anyways, I think let's get started with me reviewing the plot of it. So, basically, the plot takes place 3 years after the events of the first film. Inventor Wayne Scalenzi and his family have moved to Nevada, and they welcomed a son, a mischievous 2-year-old Adam. One day, Wayne's wife, Diane, leaves with their daughter, Amy, to help settle in her dorm at college, leaving Wayne to look after Adam, and now their teenage son, Nick. Nick has developed a crush on Mandy Park, whom Wayne later arranges to babysit Adam. The next day, Wayne takes Nick and Adam to the Sterling Labs, where he had constructed an advanced derivative of his shrink ray that enlarges objects. He tests this out on Adam's favorite toy, Big Bunny. However, when his and Nick's backs were turned, Adam attempts to retrieve it, but gets zapped by the machine, to which it appears to a short circuit, not to enlarge the targeted object. So back at home, Adam and the Big Bunny are now exposed to electrical waves from the microwave oven, and they grow into size. They're now about 7 feet tall. Wayne and Nick then try to take them back to the lab and reverse the process, but they get caught and kicked out by Wayne's co-worker, Dr. Charles Rickson, who wants to take over Wayne's invention for himself. Diane returns home early and discovers what happened, and she and Wayne and Nick have a hard time trying to take care of the large Adam. Later, Wayne and Diane drive to the warehouse and retrieve Wayne's first shrink ray prototype and to return Adam back to normal. But when Mandy arrives to babysit Adam, she panics and faints, forcing Nick to bind her. And as soon as he explains the situation to her, Adam is exposed to the television's electrical waves and grows to 14 feet before escaping through a wall. So Nick and Mandy then went to go search for him, but they get taken into custody, with Adam placed in the truck, and Wayne and Diane return home, finding Dr. Wayne to have him and Diane arrested. And the experiment on Adam, Sterling arrives, and instead of praises Wayne when he admits his mistake and pledges him to help Adam while firing Dr. Hendrickson for trying to smear Wayne. At the same time, the truck carrying Adam passes by a high voltage lines, exposing him to the electrical waves and causing him to grow 50 feet. Only escaping from the confinement, he then mistakes Nick and Mandy for toys and puts them in his overalls pocket before he heading for Las Vegas, pursued by his parents and the authorities. Wayne and Sterling figured out because of this growth and realized the exposure was Las Vegas neon lights would make them grow bigger than ever. So Dr. Hendrickson conspires with the board director Terrence Wheeler, and apart from the boardroom coup, and takes Sterling out of power. However, Dr. Hendrickson forcibly aborts a military helicopter in an attempt to tranquilize Adam. Wayne is then determined to use his shrink ray to shrink Adam back to normal, but requires that Adam would stay still for 12 seconds. Adam grows to 112 feet, wanders through the Fairmont Street, Las Vegas, causing a mass panic. Dr. Hendrickson arrives in the helicopter and starts shooting tranquilizer cartridges at Adam. However, he gets stopped by Diane, who deliberately made giant by Hendrickson arrives reluctantly to congratulate Wayne, but is knocked out by a punch by Diane. So Wayne and Diane then realize that Nick and Mandy were still in Adam's pocket, and they have been shrunk, so Wayne quickly finds them and decides to give them a few minutes of privacy before they return them to normal size, and thus the movie ends. I mean, it was a pretty good movie for what this is. I mean, I honestly really, a pretty good movie for... I mean, I think it's a really good sequel to the original Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I mean, that one was a pretty good movie, but I honestly thought this was also a really interesting concept for a sequel to it. I mean, I thought it was a really nice sequel. It was pretty good and was well made. I definitely gotta say it was really fun to really take a look at. It was a pretty good story. I'm not gonna lie. It was really fun to look at. I mean, when I first saw the story, I was like, holy hell, this one is a pretty damn good sequel to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which was a pretty good movie. I mean, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was a classic one. This one did just as good as that one. And I definitely gotta say, I recommend watching the sequel, like the second sequel. It's a pretty good sequel. I mean, even though it took place a few years later, but that was still it. However, later on, there was like a lawsuit before it was released by, for those who wonder what happened, basically, Disney would find itself later in the subject of a lawsuit result in the film, and the suit was filed in 1991 by Mark Goodson Productions and director Paul Alter, who have claimed to have came up with the idea of an oversized toddler after babysitting his granddaughter and watching her topple over the building blocks. He wrote a screenplay now titled Now That's a Baby, to which it had not been made into a film, but had received some sort of treatment beforehand. Alter then claimed that there was several similarities between the film and his script, which consists of the baby daughter, who is now two scientists falling victim to a genetic experiment go wrong, instead of an enlarging ray. The case then went to trial in 1993, and then the jury finding Alter's favor, Disney was then forced to pay about $300,000 in the damages. So, I mean, that was, when it went downhill. But despite that lawsuit that this movie went downhill at, I still thought it was a really good movie. I mean, it was really good. I mean, I thought it was awesome for what it is. It's a good sequel. And I honestly really liked Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Like, the first one was good. This one was definitely a really good story. I definitely really gotta say, I mean, it's a fun story, but I definitely gotta say, I mean, they got most of the actors to come back to play the original characters, which was awesome. And I gotta really say, it was really good. I mean, it's amazing. It's well made in detail. I like the whole concept of this story. It's flat out amazing. It's definitely a pretty awesome story, and I do like how the concept of its own self looked flat out amazing. There's definitely a lot of great opportunity with the movie that honestly, I mean, the acting was pretty good too. Just like with the first movie, the acting of this one was flat out amazing. And I gotta really say, it was definitely really good. And just like the first movie, it was definitely pretty good. So, with that being the case, and that being said, I personally recommend you guys check out this movie, the sequel to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. If you haven't seen my review on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Shadows and Pretties, That was the last episode. So I do have a playlist regarding Shadows and Pretties, so you guys can go and check that out if you haven't. It's pretty good, like the last episode I did. So yeah, I don't know if I will be reviewing the third one called Honey We Shrunk Ourselves or something, but I heard that it's a third movie of the Honey I Shrunk the Kids franchise. I mean, it's a possibility. I may review it, I may not, but I haven't really seen that movie, so yeah, I only saw the first two movies, but if I get around to watching the third one, maybe I'll give it a go, but as of now, not going to really guarantee much about it at the moment. So, with that being said, I'm going to sit here and say, what did you guys personally think of the movie? Do you like this one better than the first one? Did you like the first one and this one? Did you not like it? What are your thoughts down in the comments below? I personally like to hear what you guys think. As always, this is simply my own personal opinion on this movie. And if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these movies, and this is just my own personal thoughts. Anyway, I'm the Lion Queen. I want to thank you so much for watching today's episode, and if you're new to my channel, feel free to leave this video a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell for notifications to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Peace out, and like always, I'll see you all next time.